again, everyone, Mark Hackle, Macomb County Executive, Deputy John Paul Rea, just giving you a quick update on COVID and some other related issues that are going on. The big issue right now, and again, a divisive issue. I mean, it's incredible how one side of the issue people favor and the other side people are on a completely different spectrum. So the angst and anxiety over this thing is kind of telling. We're seeing that right now. We know that there's recommendations put out by CDC and even the state for various guidelines. And the one with schools coming into play right now is the big concern as to whether they should mask or not mask. Schools have been given the opportunity with their school boards to make decisions. And I think even early on, when COVID was around at the onset of this with school year last year, the governor gave the schools a chance to make some of their decisions. They kind of pulled back, made decisions on behalf of the schools. But I think where the state now is allowing school boards to make these decisions. There are some county health departments that are stepping in and making decisions on behalf of the schools. But again, here in Macomb County, we have been working almost daily with our schools and the ISD and our superintendents, trying to get an understanding of where their boards are at. And there's a mixed, a response to that. You've got some school districts that are saying they do want to require masks for kids. They want to accept those, I guess, recommendations from the CDC and make it a requirement. And there are some that are saying, you know what, we're okay with where we're at and we'll continue to work with the health department and kind of be guided throughout the school year as to what needs to happen, which our health department will be closely associated with and working with. So, there's this demand that people that, do put forth a mask mandate or policy, which the state has stepped away from. They're not doing it. There's no mandates. And even the governor herself said, you're not going to put forth any mandates. It's just not going to be happening or forthcoming, when yet the state pretty much led the country on mandates in various areas. So the question is, following the science and the data, not putting forth a mask mandate kind of gives you the impression as to, okay, how serious is this or how important would it be? But again, giving people that opportunity for choice. So if a kid wants to wear a mask, whether their school does or doesn't, they can. If parents want their kids to wear a mask, they may or may not. But in the schools where they are saying it is required, you must wear a mask, obviously that's going to be something that the kids have to do. The question becomes here in Macomb County, what are we doing? We're going to continue to work with our schools. We're going to continue to monitor the progression of this, make a determination who does or who doesn't. The big question comes when they say, why don't you just put forth a mandate based upon one of those recommendations from the CDC? Well, the CDC also recommends that kids 12 years of age and older get vaccinated. So, why wouldn't you then force that mandate if you're going to force the mask mandate? That too is a recommendation. Even kids in any enclosed space, apparently the recommendation from CDC is that a kid 2 years to 12 years of age should be masked up, which would include even your home. So, would the county then put forth, or the state, a mandate for kids to be masked up that are 2 to 12 years of age? So, very divisive issue. And, this conversation, we get flooded with emails on both sides of this continuously. There's a protest in Oakland County today because they've put forth a mask mandate. There'll be one here in Macomb County because, we don't have one as of yet. And I say that because we're going to continue to work with our schools and be guided by that. It's unfortunate the state didn't step in, but by not stepping in, it is one of those telling features, I guess. It makes you wonder, okay, is it something that they're not as concerned about, or leaving it to the locals to have controversy and conflict over? So we see it, we hear it, we're getting inundated with, both sides of this issue. And, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. You're going to continue to have this conflict and controversy over something that is extremely polarizing. And people are very passionate about the way they feel about it. But as I always say, in the meantime, we all know what to do. This personal responsibility, and I think even the governor used that word, keeping you and your kids safe. If you're uncomfortable with it, you're uncomfortable that your school doesn't have a mask mandate, you're still allowed to have your kids masked up to go to school. And they're still allowed to wear the mask to school. I know there's some people talking about being bullied. Well, that's on both sides of this issue. That's unfortunate. That in and of itself will be addressed, I think, by not only the schools, but law enforcement, if there is something that comes across as being, an aggressive nature that could be, codified as a crime. So, this bullying thing is unfortunate as well. But in the meantime, we're working with our school districts, Mike DeVault and his folks. I mean, this is an ever-pressing issue on their behalf. The school boards are trying to make their decisions. A lot of people like local control to make their own decisions, and we're allowing that process to play itself out. and we'll see where it ends up. But again, very controversial right now, and I think most of us are hearing about it and seeing it.
Mark, in a county with 881,000 individuals and 130,000 kids in our K through 12 system, there are going to be so many diverse perspectives, preferences, and recommendations on what not only parents would like to do, what educators would like to do, what elected officials would like to discuss, and the roles that all of us play in this. What we've been laser focused on here in that county is ensuring that there are many voices engaged in this conversation and are leading to productive options that individuals can take themselves with regards to personal responsibility, choice, and ultimately any and all of the mitigation efforts that we put in place on a daily basis by advising whether it's a school district, whether it's an employer, whether it's a local community, whether it's consulting with our healthcare systems, or as you said with the ISD. This is a continual conversation. We understand that right now the tenor is incredibly difficult. A lot of people are being combative about this. We're going to approach this conversation with dignity, we're going to approach it with civility, and most importantly, we're going to ensure that individuals know what their statutory roles are throughout this process. A singular edict, a singular recommendation, a one-size-fits-all maybe isn't the best approach right now. And throughout this process, we've had to change different things, whether it was ramping up with testing, whether it was scaling in our vaccination efforts. We continually have met the challenge of the day, and we've continually begun to exceed expectations on so many different fronts. We're going to rely on the experts in our health department. We're going to continue these conversations with our educators on a daily basis, and we're going to make sure that the environment in which our children's engaged school is as safe as possible.
Yeah, the best way of putting it is the civility around this. I think that's somewhat of an art right now, somewhat of an lost art. It's unfortunate to see, some of this incredible conflict and even the terminologies people are using and engaging with one another. It's sad. Even some of the emails we get, and I know my counterparts in other counties are feeling the same pressure from their health departments. It's pretty incredible how passionate people are about it. But again, there is a way of being passionate and being civil about it. And unfortunately, I think that's kind of gone out the window with some folks and their mindset. So with that, we continue to respect people's ability to go ahead and have their rallies and displays and I guess voice their opinions. We'll continue to allow for that format as well. I don't think anybody is discounting people's feelings right now. They want to make sure, but we're going to continue to try to figure out how do we work with our schools. That's the most important thing, and we've been at that, like I say, on a daily basis, working with our schools. And when I say daily, I'm talking about just Monday through Friday. Even on the weekends, we're having those conversations and
working overtime.
and it's been continuous. So again, it just seems like it keeps going. Interesting enough, they keep talking about even this idea that there should be some kind of a mandate for whatever that might be. Whether you accept one part of a CDC recommendation as a mandate like masks and ignore the others where you're required to or you should be vaccinated at 12 years of age and older, it's all based on the same data, it's all based on the same science. So to pick one or choose one, once again, is kind of leading to the idea that there's an opinion that you should do this, but an opinion you shouldn't do that. So interesting enough, I mean, if you think about it, there's also this thought of, okay, what is the set criteria? What are we looking to accomplish? Early on when they put in some restrictions or requirements, it was about to flatten the curve, to try to take the pressure off the healthcare systems. And, there were mandates that were put in place, and then it was kind of an arbitrary thing as to what flattened the curve, and then it became the percent test positive after the curve was flattened. How many cases of people returning that were positive? There was a color-coded chart that came out that never really coincided, with businesses being open or locations being closed down or whatever. That became, I guess the goal at that time. And then it turned out to be this, vaccination, this vax to normal or vax to normal here in Michigan, where percentage of people that were vaccinated, and then that was abandoned early on. So now, they're talking about a transmission rate is the new standard apparently. So again, we're constantly getting different criteria, different goals to figure it out. And this idea that you're going to mandate one size fits all is quite a challenge, because you've got some districts that are much more comfortable working with the health department and the schools and the parent groups than others. And so with that, as we mentioned, we're going to continue to work with our schools and try to find out what's the best solution moving forward. It's just unfortunate people want to drag you into a debate, into a conversation. Sometimes even the gotcha moments to try to get you boxed in on something. And why aren't you doing this? Because if you don't, you must not care about the children.
Kids,
You want people to get harmed or put them in harm's way. I don't think anybody feels that way. I
No.
mean, obviously, if the governor felt that way, she would have made a decision on behalf of the state, because I think she led the country with that statement. That she's doing what she's doing to help save lives. So I doubt that's the case. I don't think the governor at this point in time is looking at not caring for our kids, and I don't think any health department in the state is looking at it as they don't care for their kids, and or even any school system here right now or any school board. But again, it's a very controversial, polarizing issue, but one that we're going to continue, as I mentioned over and over again, work with our schools to find out what do we do and make sure kids are safe in the
Mark,
schools.
one of the things that we want to encourage everyone to do is, again, visit macombgov.org, see the resources that we have there, and have the conversation with your family, with your physicians, with your loved ones, and figure out what is the best course of action for you and your family. Figure out if you believe that that environment is safe. Figure out what you need as far as all the tools and resources that are available, from vaccination to social distancing and everything in between, that we've got detailed resources and information with regards to recommendations, guidelines, and all the other resources that are available on that end. But again, you focus on the personal responsibility side and also the whole notion to approach those conversations with civility, because there's going to be diverse perspectives on this. And I think the other thing that's interesting, Mark, is we're a handful of days away from bringing kids back into the classroom. And the most important thing is that it's focused on keeping those kids safe, which is something that we discuss on a daily basis here in Macomb.
In all school officials
Yeah.
that way. So again, you've got some of that local control where schools, there are school systems here that want to make that decision on their own. And so far be it for someone to jump in and say, you know what, your decision is wrong, we're going to move in this direction. Whatever decision is made on behalf of the schools, our health department is going to continue to work with the schools.
Yeah.
And if there's any problems or issues that are happening, not only are we providing them the best information, we're going to provide them the best care and help them with the direction if there is a problem and how to correct that and how to deal with it. So I think we've said quite a bit about that. Unfortunately, there's always going to be more to say, and there's always this continued need for conflict and controversy that some are going to want to question and make a point of. But we'll accept that and we'll continue to deal with that as we have from the onset. And this has been, I think, this is the 17th month we've been into this.
Correct.
Since March 13th of last year. So with that, good point. Make sure you're making the right decision to keep you and your family safe. So on the note, a bit of positive news coming out of our audit that we had with the county. I mean, pretty spectacular. We've been very fortunate here in Macomb County. Structural budgets we've been put forth. We do have a 3-year kind of rolling budget, if you will. The 1 year, or the year that we're on, is one that is approved by the board. But we also have forecasted out 2 years beyond that to kind of get an idea of where we're headed as a county. And right now, sitting on a $72 million surplus. Boy, that's about a 27% fund balance. That's a great story to tell. And again, having this, what they call this, there's no material weaknesses in our budget. That is incredible. Anybody who understands accounting, auditing, that statement in of itself says a lot. When you're talking about a $857 million budget, and again, 275 of it is general funds, meaning from the tax base. Wow, what a statement on behalf of the county to be able to kind of, put ourselves in that type of a position here. So we had some challenges over the past couple of years. Yeah. Some of them things we attempted to correct, get people to know, but that's finally been turned around. And with that being said, this county is now looking at something where there is no material weaknesses in their auditing, and even the audit firm was very impressed by that, even in their statement to the Board of Commissioners.
Mark, having that gold standard with regards to our financial practices, having the support of Plant Moran Cressa as our independent auditors, seeing Dave Harrington and his team working with our finance team to understand that everything that we have in place is not only sound and structural, but illustrating the fact that we're continuing able to invest in capital. We're going to continue to expand programs. We're continuing to look at all the budget complexities and requests from all our department heads to understand how we continue to serve the public. If we were not in an enviable financial position, we wouldn't be able to do those things. I think that illustrates the testament that we all have to do this. This is job one. This is what is expected of us every single day, and we continue to follow through on that.
And you're right, and it's one of those things where we're not doing a victory lap or patting ourselves on the back. This is our responsibility. Yep. I mean, the budget is something that we have to make sure that we're having a structurally sound budget. Revenues coming in, match those expenditures, but beyond that, obviously, we now have a surplus that can help us if there is a problem moving forward. We do anticipate that even to grow based upon what we were able to do this past year, and working with our countywide elected officials, keeping costs low, and making sure we're doing more with less. So we've been very fortunate. Had great working relationships with our county counterparts, countywide elected officials, yeah, as well as our department heads and the county board of commissioners. So very fortunate. Again, I think that's why we have this AA+ bond rating. And again, the only reason we don't have a AAA bond rating is because of some of the outside factors that come into play, and that's household income and sometimes even the cost of the homes themselves. So those factors are integrated into those decisions that are made on bond ratings. But a AA plus is an enviable bond rating to have, and so we do have that here in Macomb County. And also things we're able to do, which is important, and again, our responsibility, our fully funded pension. And when I say fully funded, it's actually 101% fully funded. I mean, that's a pretty resounding statement in and of itself. In a retiree health care, which was a problem when we first went over to this new form of government, $500 million liability on the books, we've turned that around to a point now that we have nearly a 97, 98% basically fully funded retiree healthcare system too. So promises made will be promises kept when it comes to retiree healthcare issues, as well as obviously their pensions. So again, lessening the burden on the public, making sure we're doing it within our financial constraints to begin with.
Mark, it gives us the opportunity, as you said, to meet any challenges that arise, but also focus on opportunities. Because we've got that financial latitude, because we keep making the right financial decisions, because we've got all the safeguards from a monetary perspective, we're able to continue to modernize and serve the public in Macomb County. And like you said, it's a nice pat on the back, but it's one of those things we're not going to have a parade down Main Street. We're going to show up every single day and keep doing the right thing.
Yeah, so we're very, very fortunate here. Again, as I mentioned, we got a lot of support from a lot of folks in this, but a lot of credit goes to Steve Schmiegel, and the director of our finance. He's done a great job. Even prior to that, we had a tremendous amount of support, from our finance department and the folks that were kind of leading that charge as well. So we're in a good place. I kind of want to end it on a very incredibly happy note. You talk about something that, being able to witness and see firsthand myself was kind of neat. I mean, you got this, here in Macomb County, we're fortunate. We have Macomb County Habitat for Humanities that helps people get into homes. And, a lot of these people basically are single moms and folks that need homes and are looking for support. There's a lot of criteria they got to go through, and we had an opportunity to go to Roseville. In fact, this was just the other day, and to see not only these folks get their first home and the excitement for this mom and her 4 young children. They're underage. I think all 4 of them are under the age of 10. But this lady, she happens to be Sarah. She happens to be a news carrier or a mail carrier. And I think she works out of the Macomb Township area here. What a wonderful lady, and the kids are just absolutely adorable. And she went through the process to obtain her home and got this home in Roseville that was built by Habitat for Humanity. But a gentleman, I don't know if folks know him or remember him, Warwick Dunn, phenomenal running back out of Florida and Florida State, and then working. He actually got drafted in the NFL, and Tampa Bay brought him on board the Buccaneers. And he was a first round, 12th overall pick. This guy has made it his mission. Now that he's no longer in the NFL, he's retired after 12 years, to give back. I mean, he has an incredible story to tell about his own mom, who raised him, and his sisters. And then she happened to be a police officer down in Florida, and she was tragically killed in the line of duty. He took in his sisters and created this foundation to help single moms basically around the country, and this was his 194th home that he's been able to fully furnish. And to see what he did inside this home for these kids, working with Aaron's, their team of dream folks to help deliver homes. I'm telling you, the inside of this home, the kids were so excited. They were screaming. They were giddy, and I mean, everything from filling the shelves up to toothpaste in the bathroom to Beats headphones for the kids and everything. This Warwick Dunn was able to provide that through his foundation that he did. So hats off to Warwick, not only for the incredible work he did on the field, but amazing things he's doing off the field.
Yeah, Mark, it's a truly inspiring story. It illustrates the impact that homeownership has, not only from an individual, but from the whole notion of the continued work that we do in community action and neighborhood stability. Having a great partner like Habitat for Humanity, not only spearheading these efforts and providing these opportunities for individuals, it definitely warms your heart a little bit, and it illustrates that there's incredible people doing great things throughout Macomb County on a daily basis. And having an individual with that star power of Warwick Dunn, I think it just gives it a little bit more of push as far as the impact that we can have.
Yeah, very, very humble. And again, you go through that when you're just being a part of that. Actually, it made my month. I mean, you talk about a feel-good story. With everything else going on, kind of even how we started this video here, the challenges that we're facing and kind of the controversy. Just seeing that happen. I mean, there was no controversy surrounding this, but just seeing those kids excited about having a home. And I'm just grateful that they can call Macomb their home, living in Roseville. but you know, to have folks that do what they do, and people like you know, Warwick Dunn and even Aaron's you know, the delivery team that they have. Boy, I tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in that house. It was absolutely amazing watching that. And you know, fortunately, as we've been talking here, you've been kind of seeing some of the footage that we've been able to embed into that. But it was really a great moment. So again, testament to Habitat for Humanity's here in Macomb County, the work they do, and a guy like Warwick Dunn, we thank you again. Hats off to you. You know, that was kind of our feel-good story for not only the day, I think for the entire month here, and one that I'll take with me for quite some time. So again, we know there's controversy, we know there's conflict. We're going to continue to work through these issues as best we can, try to be as civil about it as we can. But as we always say, you know, the most important thing right now is this personal responsibility that we're talking about, and that's making sure that you keep you and your family safe.